This is the Valley of Tears from MMP Games. It's part of the Battalion Combat series. Looking at the situation on the Golan front at the end of day 3. Oddly enough, the Syrians made a breakthrough in the north. Instead of, historically, they made a breakthrough in the south, but in this particular game, it's the northern sector which actually collapsed. Now, there were as I said, there were what I thought were a lot of Israeli units on the heights, but they were all very, very weak. They're one-step units, and a couple of one-step units collapsed, and there was a large Israeli formation that was encircled and destroyed as well. One of their very valuable infantry units, the Israelis got pushed back quite a distance, actually beyond they're almost beyond the SAM barrier at the moment, which is not particularly healthy for the Syrians because of the activity rating penalty. Now, in the south, the situation's pretty much a slugfest. There's been a lot of armoured battles going all up and down this line because the Israelis have been concentrating on armoured engagements, and the Egyptians have lost a lot of armour. They're actually quite weak in terms of armour now down south, but they have got another armoured division here, which is arriving, the 3rd Tank Division, which they'll use to bolster their position. At the moment, well, it may stay as a strategic reserve, I don't know. Depends what the Israeli counterattack up north looks like. I did a little video before where I've been doing the extreme tempo wrong. I've sort of compensated a little bit by giving the Israelis an extra extreme tempo turn, which they wouldn't have got by a die roll right at the end of this particular day. So all in all, the Israelis are holding, but things are fairly rough even on the Golan, and they're not going to get a lot of extra support in terms of reinforcements on the Golan. Which is strange. I would have thought that the Israelis would have treated the Golan as by far the more serious front, because it's such a small area and it leads right into Israel directly, whereas on the Syrian front you've got, I don't know how many miles, you've got 100 miles or more from the canal to the actual Israeli border. It could be 200 miles. I'm not sure. It's a long way. And even if the Egyptians were actually to penetrate to the passes, you can only see the mouth of one of the Sinai passes over there. It'd be a hell of a job to fight their way through those passes to get to Israel proper. So I'm surprised they're leaving the defence of the Golan to 2 divisions, one of which is using little task forces, one-step task forces, constantly trying to firefight and fill in gaps. But we've now got the situation is we've lost the extreme tempo, because we can't do that anymore. You only get it for the first 3 days. Admittedly, the interdiction by the Israeli Air Force has badly affected the Syrians. This turn really slowed them down, forcing them to get a lot of partial activations. It was less successful in the Sinai, even though it had the same effect, -2 snafu. Just the Egyptians were a bit luckier than with their die rolls than the Syrians were. And that's it. So I'd say it's roughly going how it did in reality, except the positions of the the armies are just slightly different. The overall strategic position is about the same. It's turning in Israel's favour, and the Israeli Air Force really did have an influence on the Golan front this turn. They actually had 12 air attack points as a result of some absolutely spectacular throws on the air superiority table. He threw a double six and an 11, which is absolutely amazing. Considering they didn't have an advantage in air superiority fighters, that's the best possible outcome on both fronts airily. So that wasn't very good for the Arabs. Right, that's it.